everyone, this is Anna again, here with our second allyship tip of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in again, and today we are going to be talking a little bit about pronouns. And when I say pronouns, I'm referring to third-person pronouns, so words like he, she, they, and many more that we use to refer to people in place of their name. And we do this to diversify language and so that we're not repeating someone's name over and over and over again. So for instance, if you were talking about me, you would say Anna is wearing an orange shirt, or you could say she is wearing an orange shirt, or they have blonde hair. I use the pronouns she, her, hers, and they, them, theirs, so either of those would have been appropriate ways to refer to me. Pronouns are really important because they validate someone's identity and they are a matter of respect, right? So using the correct pronouns for someone shows that you respect them and you see them for who they are. But the only way to know what pronoun someone uses is if they tell you. And so I just told you what pronouns I use, so please use those. But we need to normalize telling people our pronouns when we meet them. Hey, I'm Anna, my pronouns are she or they. What's your name and pronouns? That's the second part, and that's important too. So while we need to normalize introducing ourselves with our pronouns and feeling comfortable offering our pronouns without prompting, we also need to feel comfortable asking other people for their pronouns. And when I say that, I mean asking everyone for their pronouns. We've grown up in a society, most of us, that has indoctrinated us into believing that there are just these two genders, this gender binary, male, female, man, woman, and realistically, gender is a lot more complicated than that. I like to think of gender as more of a continuum. And so we historically have been taught that by looking at someone, we can put them in a box, one of two boxes, usually either male or female, and in doing so, then we can decide what pronoun to use when we refer to them. However, like I just explained, gender is a bit more complicated than that. And so we can't assume that just because someone looks a certain way or presents a certain way that they're going to use a certain pronoun. For instance, I don't know how many of you may have assumed that I just use she, her, hers pronouns. And luckily I do use she, her, hers pronouns, but I also use a pronoun that maybe you wouldn't have assumed that I would use. And so we need to be really careful about the assumptions that we make. And in doing so, we need to ask universally for everyone's pronouns, because there are people who perhaps appear a certain way, like me for instance, who maybe would fall in one box in one's classically trained mind, but who don't use solely or at all the pronoun that we associate or society associates with that box. So we need to normalize asking every single person, regardless of how they express themselves, regardless of how they look, what pronoun they use. And that feels awkward sometimes, I understand that, but the more that we do it and the more that we introduce ourselves using our pronouns, the less uncomfortable it will become and the more socially acceptable it will be, and the more it will normalize the idea that we can't make assumptions about people. It's creating a safer space for everyone, even if it is a little bit socially uncomfortable at the start. Maybe including your pronouns in your email signature. That's a very simple way to indicate your own pronouns and show that you understand that this is important and hopefully why it's important, and you're normalizing that this is something that everyone should be doing so that we stop as a culture, as a society, making assumptions about people's pronouns. So putting it in your email signature. Maybe introducing yourself with your pronouns at meetings. Maybe you're at a meeting with other individuals you've not met before, and you're all going around the table saying who you are, where you're from, etc. You could say something like, "Hi, I'm Anna. I'm the community educator at TCC, and my pronouns are she or they." And it's a very simple way to go through that and normalize that process. If you're the one leading the meeting, you can even ask everyone to please, when you go around, say your name, your title, where you're from, and your pronouns. Maybe if you're at a gathering that you wear name tags, you could write your name on the name tag as well as your pronouns underneath. So we need to increase our comfort with talking about the pronouns that we use and presenting ourselves with our pronouns, as well as asking every single person for the pronouns that they use. When we don't feel comfortable asking, or we don't know what someone's pronouns are, we might want to use they, them, theirs pronouns. I like to think of they, them, theirs pronouns as gender inclusive. Some people say gender neutral, but I think gender matters, and neutrality feels, to me at least, like it cancels out gender a little bit. But gender is important, so I like to use gender inclusive to describe they, them, theirs pronouns. So practicing referring to people in the street who you don't know, someone holds the door for you, you can say they held the door for me, rather than, again, making an assumption about what pronoun they might use. That's a really easy way to normalize and recalibrate our brains to stop making those initial judgments that place people in a gender binary. It's hard work, and I appreciate that, but it's a really, really important and awesome step for you all to take as allies. Again, whether you're part of the LGBTQ community or not, it's something that I think we can all work on improving and really just normalizing and talking about. And we can all do our part because we all have a relationship with pronouns. So thank you so much for tuning in to this second allyship tip of the day. I hope that you learned a little something and can tune in again tomorrow at 12:30 to hear our third allyship tip of the day. And I will see you then. Bye.